Hey guys, um, hope you're staying safe and washing your hands and staying away from people and that good stuff. Um, I know you probably have a lot of questions, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions about your packet and some of the work that you're doing in there. So I wanted to uh, just get a chance to do a quick video of some of the examples of some of your problems in your packet. We'll start on this video. We'll do snow day number one. So the first day of your packet, it's not really a snow day, but um, the first day of your packet, we're going to do some examples from that set of pages. So that's like 4 pages or so. So we're going to do a couple examples from those and just try to get it where you guys know kind of how to do these and remember how to do these things. Most of this should be review because we've done a lot of this already. So just bear with me as I try to get this going for you guys. So go ahead and turn to the math portion of your packet, number one. So the day one of your packet, okay. And then I'm going to try to turn this onto the paper. All right, sorry, that should have it there, so it's not upside down for you guys. All right, so let's look at number one here. So if we're dividing fractions, we know that we have a cool trick on how to do that called keep, change, flip. Remember, so KCF. Okay, so keep it, change it, flip it. So we're going to take this first fraction and keep it. So 1/5. Then the next thing we're going to change, we're going to change the symbol to multiplication. And then the next one we're going to flip. So it's going to be 10/3. Okay. Now 1 times 10 is going to be 10, of course. And then 5 times 3 is going to be 15. Okay. Now, we can't leave it like that. So we're going to do some work of reducing that fraction. Okay. So that fraction is not where we want to end up. So let's reduce it as much as we can. Okay. So what is a common factor between these two? These are both multiples of 10, okay? So multiples of 5. So if I divide by 5 on both of those, I'm going to get 2 on the top, and then on the bottom, 5 goes into 15 3 times. So I'm going to get 2/3, okay? Now we've got number 2 here. How many 2 3/4 feet long strips of ribbon can be cut from a ribbon that is 7.5 feet long? Okay, so 7.5 feet long ribbon. Now remember, we've got our way of remembering this called wow. Okay, so what is being divided and how, right? So what is being divided? What do we have to begin with? We have a ribbon that is 7.5 feet long, that's being divided into strips that are 2 3/4 long. So we're dividing a 7.5 feet long ribbon into equal parts that are 2 3/4 long. Okay, so now our first problem is that these two are not, they're mixed numbers. So we need to have, in order to divide, we need to have an improper fraction. So we're going to do our trick called the backwards C. Some of you should remember this. So 2 times 7 equals 14, plus 1 is 15. So then we get 15 over 2. Okay, so that's our first number. And then our second number, we do 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is going to be 11. Okay, so we'll have 11 over 4 on that one. Okay, so then we're going to bring down our division symbol here. Now we have another problem. So what do we have to do when we're dividing fractions? We have to do keep, change, flip. Okay, KCF. All right, so we're going to keep it, change it, flip it. So that last one's going to be 4 over 11. Okay, now we're going to see what we get when we multiply across. So 4 times 15. Okay, so let's think 2 times 15 is going to be 30. And then 2 times that is going to be 60. So 4 times 15 is going to be 60. Okay. Now 2 times 11 is going to be, it's going to be 22. Now we don't want to leave it like that. Okay, so we want to see how we can reduce this this fraction here. It's also an improper fraction, so the first thing we can do is see how many times 22 will go into 60. So we would say 60 divided by 22. And we know that it's going to go at least twice. So let's try twice. So let's go out to the side over here and we'll say 22 outside the house and then 60 in the house. Okay, so we know 22 is not going to go into 6. Let's zoom in over here. 22 is not going to go into 6, so we'll put a 0 there. But 22 will go into 60, right? So we're going to say it's going to go 2 times, because 3 times would be 66, so we know that that would not work. So 22 times 2 is going to be 44, so we'll subtract 44 from 60. Okay, we get excuse me just a second. We get 16 should be your difference there. And then now we know that we have that it will go into 60 two whole times and 16 20-seconds. So 2 and 16 20-seconds. Now what can we divide these two by to reduce that even more? We can do a little bit more work on that to get that even smaller. So 16, they're both even numbers, right? So let's try even numbers. So we'll do 16 divided by 2 is going to be, so we'll have 2, and then 16 divided by 2 is 8, and then 22 divided by 2 would be 11. Okay, so then this is going to be our simplest form. So we're going to have 2 and 8/11ths is our answer on that one. Okay, so that one's kind of a long one, but just remember your steps. So you're going to do what is being divided and how, keep it, change it, flip it, and then you're going to have to do your backwards C's here to figure that out, and then you've got your backwards check mark to figure out your new fraction. Okay, and keep reducing every time, right? Okay. Now let's go to the next page here. We've got a super long division one. So let's look at this one. All right, this one's super long, but it is not as intimidating as it looks. Okay, so let's try to just keep that in mind. It looks like really big numbers, but it's really not as difficult as it seems. Okay, so 6. Okay, so we know that we start at this 2, right? So we start with the 2, and we see, okay, will 204 go into 2? Now, of course, 204 is not going to go into 2, so we put a 0 there. Okay, it's not going to go into 26 either, so we'll put a 0 there. Okay, but it might go into 263. Okay, so how many times do we think that will go in? I'm going to say it's going to go in one whole time. Okay, so 1 times 204 is going to be 204. Okay, then we have to find our difference. Okay, remember you got to do dad, mother, sister, brother. Okay, so divide, multiply, subtract, and then bring down. So we divided by 1. We multiplied 1 times 204, and then we're going to subtract 263 from, or 204 from 263. Okay. All right, so we got to borrow here because you can't take 4 from 3. So we're going to take this. It's going to be 5 now, and this is going to be 13. Okay, 4 minus, or excuse me, 13 minus 4 is going to be 9. So we're going to have 9 here. And then 5 minus 0 is going to be 5. And then 2 minus 2 is going to be 0. Okay, so now we have 59. Now, will 204 go into 59? No. Okay, so then we're going to bring 1 down. So we're bringing down this 1. Okay, so now we have 591. Okay, so 591. So let's think about how many times will 591, or how many times will 204 go into 591? Okay, so 204, it went in 1 time here, so let's go for, let's see if it'll go in. Let's see if it'll go in 2 whole times, okay? So 204 times 2, so we'll do that down here. Okay, 4 times 2 is 8. Then 2 times 0, 0. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so we got 408. Could we fit another 204. So we get 204. No, because that's going to be 600. So that would not work, right? It'd be over 600, and that's not what we got. We got 591. So it's going to go 2 times. And remember, you got to keep it over the number that you brought down. So we're keeping everything in line here. All right, now, so we brought down our number. Now we're going to, so we divided by 2. We're going to multiply, and we get 408. And then we're going to subtract. So we know that we're going to get, so let's see. Got to borrow here. This is going to be 8. This becomes 11. Okay, so that's 3. 8 minus 11 minus 8 is going to be 3. And then 8 minus 0 is going to be 8. And then 5 minus 4 is going to be 1. Okay, so we got 183. Now 204 is not going to go into 183. So let's just go ahead and bring down our 6. Okay, so there's our 6. All right, now, how many times do we think 204 is going to go into 1836? Okay, so let's see. So 2 times, what times 2 here would equal 18? I think 9 would work. Okay, so let's try 9. So 204 times 9. So 9 times 4. Excuse me. 9 times 4 is going to be 36, actually. So that might actually be exactly it. So 6 here, and then you put your 3 up here. 9 times 0 is going to be 0, plus 3 is 3. So we have 36. And then 9 times 2 is 18. So then we have 1836. So we know that's going to go exactly 9 times. And then we're going to subtract. And we got, so we divided by 9. We're going to multiply by 9 and get 1836. And then we're going to subtract, and we'll get 0. So we know that we're done. So you should have 129 for your answer. Okay? So that's just some long division there. And again, it's not as scary as it seems. You just gotta stick with it and keep going through it and checking yourself. Okay? All right, now let's do this guy. Okay, so this is a subtraction one. So again, we're going to have to do a lot of borrowing, right? So let's borrow. So we're going to borrow here, and already my decimals are lined up for me already, so I don't have to deal with any of that. So that's what we've got there. So 4, we can't take 9 from 4, so we're going to borrow from this 5 and make it a 4. And then this is going to become 14, okay? Now 14 minus 9 is going to leave us with 5, okay? Now we got to borrow again because we can't take 6 from 4. So this becomes 1, and this becomes 14. Okay, so 14 minus 6, 14 minus 6 is going to be 8, okay? And that leaves us with that, and then we're going to bring down our decimal, okay? And then we can't take 3 from 1, so we're going to borrow from this 1. So this becomes 0, and this becomes 11. Okay, 11 minus 3 is going to be 8. Okay, so then we'll have 8.85. Simple enough, right? Then let's do one more, or 2 more actually. Sorry. All right, so these are some review from earlier in the year. So they should be pretty straightforward. So this one, number 2, find the greatest common factor of 18 and 12. Okay, so 18 and 12, we're going to find our common factor, our greatest common factor. So let's find our factors first. So we got 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6, and let's see, anything else? I don't think so. All right, so those are our factors for that one. All right, now for 12, we've got 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, and then that's it, I think. All right, so what is our greatest common factor between these two numbers? All right, so we got 1, but there's another one. There's a bigger one, 2. There's 3 again, but there's a bigger one. The next biggest one is 4, but we only have 4 once. Then let's see, we got 6, so 6 is in here twice. And I think it is going to be the only one that we have twice after that. So then our greatest common factor is going to be 6. Okay, so that's that one. Now let's look at number 4. Number 4 is different because we're doing the least common multiple. Okay, so least common multiple is we're multiplying by those numbers and finding the one that they have in common. Okay, so again, we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, and see if they match up. And if they don't, we keep going. Okay, so let's do the first 4 for 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, so then we've got 9, 18, 27, and then 36. So we don't have any that match up yet, so we'll have to keep going. So we'll do 4 more for each. So we got 20, 25, 30, 35. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that one, we don't have it so far, so we'll have to keep going. So 36, we'll keep going this way and see if we get any that match up. All right, so 36, 45, okay, and then 54, and then 63, okay, one more actually. Okay, now we didn't have any that matched up, right? So we got to keep going. All right, so for 5, we got 35, 40, and then we got 45. Okay, so we can stop there because we know there's 45. Okay, so our least common multiple is going to be 45. So LCM equals 45. Okay. All right, and guys, it's that simple. So just keep looking at your packets. Make sure that you are using your resources for these and looking back on all our notes that we've gone through and your math talks and anything that we've done in class, and that'll help you a lot. Okay. And if you don't understand something and you really need more help, then I will. You can message me on Remind. You can message me on Google Classroom or Miss Strickland, and we will get this stuff figured out with you. Okay. Again, a lot of this is going to be review for this first packet here, and so it should be pretty straightforward. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us, and we will get to the bottom of it. Okay. All right. So you guys stay safe, and I will see you for day 2 of our packet. Okay. All right. See ya.